impressed with the execution so far at such an early stage of our fall camp, because typically when you come off of a summer, you're going to be bigger, you're going to be stronger, you're going to see noticeable differences, in physicalities of football players. But I think the most impressive thing we've seen is they spend a lot of time enhancing themselves with the knowledge of the scheme, perfecting techniques and whatnot. I should say, bettering their techniques, never perfecting them, not there yet. But certainly has shown the first couple of days of practice. So it's been intense, it's been high energy. The execution has been really, really good. We're getting more and more sharp in how we're executing our offense and our defensive schemes, and we're spending a ton of time on special teams due to the fact that we do not have anything else during this time except we have these guys for with it. 20 hours a day we have them. And so we're certainly making sure it's an inundation of football. So of course the floor is open to questions. Glad you guys made it here today. Welcome. Hope you guys stayed out of the rain. Let's get after it.
How do you plan to work out the quarterback situation or improve the penalties and averages? And then when you make the decisions?
Yeah, right away we threw them both to the fire. Picked out five, we left off and Cristobal. We have scripted, and I think it now comes out to almost 1,200 plays each. And that being made up of team situations, scrimmage situations, 7-on-7, 1-on-1, everything you could possibly grade to have these guys in a situation where they have to make a decision, and they have to be accurate with the football, as well as have to be accurate with their checks in our audible system as well. So it's a complete test, and to run this offense, you have to be that guy. You have to be as sharp as our offensive coordinator and on the same page, and at the same time, be able to make those instantaneous decisions. So they are perfectly balanced in terms of his work with the first team and the second team. Guys that have stood out in the third team, though, Jake Medlock has done some real good things as well. So you can he'll probably be in the mix. He's done some things early on as well as Solomon Smith and Chris Triple, but Medlock definitely sticks out. So that's a challenge. Making sure that it's exact in terms of being able to grade these guys to come up with the best solution for our football team. The one thing I do feel confident about, both guys have done a good job of managing this offense. I want to see one separate. Right now, both have done pretty good.
Coach, success is always the key, but is it now due time considering all the guys are pretty much your guys now?
Close to it. I think at this time next year we'll have a full roster for the first time at FIU. So we feel good about that locker room. We feel good about the culture. We certainly feel good about the steps we've taken. We just had our first off-season conditioning program in a weight room. It's the first time we have a weight room, so we've been able to use that in a positive way. And we're excited about the fact that we know we can be a good football team. We need to be efficient. We need to be perfect in the way we approach practice. And the scoreboard takes care of itself when you do those kind of things. So the energy level's high. The commitment is strong. So again, fall camp is going to take care of a lot of things.
Mario, you talk about the three all-conference guys you have and kind of the statement that makes as far as the next step for this program, having the season recognition.
Sure, you gotta have the players to make it happen. Brad Serini, I think, will now start his 37th straight game as our center. The most important part about him, he's taking the summer to drop a bunch of weight. He's weighing 285 pounds. He's lean. He's much stronger. He looks much more athletic, and his football IQ has gone through the roof. He knows how to run an entire offense. He knows how to make the calls. He's on board with every single one. Of course, Anthony Gator, tremendous offseason as well. The scheme that we're running on defense is much better for his skill set as well as the rest of our football players. We're an athletic football team. We traditionally have not been a big football team, not like a Michigan or a Wisconsin. We've been an athletic, fast football team. We've gotten more explosive through recruiting. So Anthony Gator and T.Y. Hilton will be in situations and sets, formations, and play calling situations that will help us maximize their talent level and their skill sets.
Mario, what kind of special player that T.Y. is? I mean, does he have that? They talk about speed, his agility, but just the ability to make those big plays. Is it some kind of innate, or sometimes you just give him the ball and go?
That's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
You got to find ways to get him the football, number one. But when they're taking stuff away from him, sometimes that ball goes up there. He's got to make a play, and the great ones always do and always have. But the nice thing now, you have a Ty Firesen as a senior that's really put a lot of time into this program and is playing good football. Wayne Times is an all-conference freshman performer. Willis Wright in the building right now gives us another tremendous option. He's been extremely impressive in the early workouts, as well as Greg Ellington. So there are some options there, and what that means is competition's gotten that much better. There's an actual depth chart, now, and the caliber of player and the depth is steadily improving and increasing, and that right there helps you become a better football.
Mario, getting back to the quarterback position, by when do you want to make the decision? How important is it to make that decision kind of early so you can get all those receivers in touch with?
Well, they're both putting the ball in the receiver's hands every single day. You like to name it a week out, but you certainly don't force the situation. You make sure that it is real and legitimate. You don't head fake that. You can't head fake in football, not in decision making. You're always going to choose the best guys to play, the guys that can do the best for the football team and by the football team. So what we want as a staff, we want clear-cut separation. Okay? And we want to make sure that there's clear-cut separation because the guys really performing really, really well.
Do the other players actually even sometimes hint the way that the competition is going? A guy they'll follow, a guy they'll see that has taken the lead?
I think if it's obvious, I think you will get that. We haven't had that. I've played on football teams where that has been the case. And yeah, there'll be some chirping. What you see here is both guys making a lot of plays. You're finding two guys that are finding ways to take the accountability and put that responsibility upon themselves if a pass isn't perfect, if the wrong call isn't made, which is really, really important. Quarterback is willing to take that type of accountability, willing to put that on his shoulders. Guys know they can trust him, and this game will be and always will be.
In your eyes, did you see any? I know it's early, but have you seen any one of those two guys stand out, particularly in practice, in a certain aspect?
Is there separation between the two right now? No.
If that's
Not after 2 days of practice, and we're in shorts and helmets right now. We're getting pads. When I say pads, upper pads tomorrow, upper pads on Thursday. We go full gear on Friday, and our first scrimmage is Saturday. Although everything is graded up until now, think about what it is. After your first play of a team drill, whistle is blown, the ball's respotted where it was, and you go again until we get those live situations. And I'm talking about scrimmage, situational scrimmage, where you move the ball, where you drive a football team, where it's 3rd and 2, and you must check out of a particular play because they're bringing pressure. Those are things and situations we're going to put them in a bunch of times between now and, of course, game number 1, and they have to come through in those situations.
if that separation doesn't happen, are you willing to use a 2-quarterback system?
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, we're driving and we're setting this thing up so that there has to be separation. We'll do whatever is best for you.
How about as far as the running game goes? So you guys have Jeremiah Hart transfer down here, Scott Edwards. Is there going to be a different dynamic? You guys had a little bit of running ball last year.
Absolutely.
This year you guys have more variety. So where's the running game at right now?
Yeah, big emphasis, of course, at fall camp to run the football and stopping the run. Two of our big issues, and for us to be a better football team, we're going to do both those things a lot better. And not only is Jeremiah Hart a good player for us there, Perry's healthy. Darren Mallory's coming off shoulder surgery. We're going to sit out part of last season. He's healthy. Trinard Turner is part of the big back force. The signing of Kedrick Rhodes, Boswell coming on board with us. There's some guys that can play football, legitimate running backs that provide a dynamic that we really haven't had. We haven't been fortunate to have in the past. You couple that with a system, again, that uses our skill sets better, and then an enhanced offensive line. I think the emergence of James Wiggins, the signing of Kalen Hopkins, changes things dramatically for you up front because now you have a chance to move the line of scrimmage and make things happen. So to sum all that up, yeah, run the football is a huge, huge emphasis for us.
How about on the defensive side, the ability to stop the run?
Absolutely, just as great. And that's the nice part about football when you're going against each other. We're emphasizing the run, the other side of the football is emphasized stopping.
Last year probably had to be a rather frustrating year for Team Y with injury. Have you seen any difference in the way he's approached this season because of that? Made him more determined, or did he realize that, hey, not everything is given to me, I have to work at it, or has it really
The
changed?
day you walk to the door, he knows nothing's going to be given to him, not at FIU. And, when you go from having 2,000 plus all-purpose yards, okay, that's what he had as a freshman, 2,000 all-purpose yards, 1,000 of those yards came in the form of receptions, to get nicked up pretty good early, and all of a sudden, being able to stretch the field is not really an option because you're wearing knee brace that takes your 4.3 and makes you a 4.6 guy. Still helpful, still, a real good receiver, but not the same guy. It helps, it makes you realize, what you have and how fragile this whole thing is. The game of football, as we all know, it can be taken away from him in a second. And I think he's realized that. He's approached camp and he's approached his rehab with a tremendous amount of hunger. And I think what you'll see out there, you'll see a better T.Y. Hilton than we saw in 2008.
And he's full go.
He is full
No
go.
limitations at all.
He is full go. He is full go.
Coach, as the team blossoms and grows, how have you grown and blossomed as a head coach going into another year?
You learn a lot, you certainly learn a lot. I think that's the biggest challenge, and we've becoming a head coach is all the other things that you have to somehow supervise, monitor, conduct, that falls outside the lines of football. You know, whether it be a speaking engagement, whether it be a meeting on campus, whether it be something across town, whether it be scheduling, you name it. I mean, it's there. I think the most important thing that I've learned is continue to find ways to have all that taken care of, you know, which is usually 2 or 3 in the morning, whatever it takes, so you can really coach football and make sure that you're always in touch and in tune with the locker room. And I think as a football player, what I remember the most about the coaches that I loved were that regardless of the fact, get pushed. I want someone to push me as a football player. I want someone to motivate me, drive me, no matter what it takes, but knowing that that man's always going to find a way to help me get better, that they're doing the best by me. And I think with the amount of time that we spend emphasizing academics, the amount of time that we spend in the community doing stuff, you couple that with the amount of time we put into football and emphasizing the details of the game to make sure we find these inches and millimeters for these guys to get better, that stuff goes a long way. And it's the nature of our staff, and it's the nature of the kids that we're recruiting and coaching, okay? So when that comes together, it's pretty strong and pretty powerful, and I think that's when you get a chance to speak with our staff and our players, what you're gonna see is a bunch of guys that are really fired up, not only about football, but working with each other to build something.